Well, welcome to another Workshop Wednesday brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com, which is casual conversations for serious workflows. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I was trying to um, work on how we were going to do this because today we're going to be talking about mobile apps. So it would be really helpful to see, to stream or to do screen sharing with a mobile phone, right? So, um, unfortunately, if anybody was paying attention to the YouTube channel, for some reason, I accidentally went live with a blank stream for 2.5 minutes. So I apologize if anyone's like, what is going on? I thought it was all about apps today. This says payroll fundamentals. So
Uh-oh.
apologize for that. But um, what I'm doing is I'm streaming from Zoom into this streaming application, which is then streaming to. So this is kind of like an Inception uh, type of
Good. I'm
type
glad
of
you know
things.
how to do that because I don't.
So if Leonardo DiCaprio shows up in your dreams, I'm sorry if if that happened. Well,
That
maybe
is one of
maybe
my
you'd like
favorite
that. I
movies,
don't
though.
know. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about mobile apps, right? Because if you go searching for QuickBooks on the App Store of your choice, whether it's Google Play or the Apple Store, Apple App Store, there's a lot of them in there. So we want to try. Today is just really, well, what are all these apps and what do they do, and which ones are redundant, right? Because a lot of times, like what happened specifically with the GoPayment app, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. GoPayment was designed as a mobile app when QuickBooks Online did not have the ability to charge credit cards inside the app. So there was if you want to charge credit cards through QuickBooks Online, you got to use the GoPayment app, and that was when Square was kind of the big player in the mobile payment processing. So that was the catalyst for that app. Eventually, QBO app became PCI compliant, so there's really no need for a GoPayment app, but the app's still there. So we'll be talking about some of these apps, why you might want one over the other, or maybe you can get rid of them altogether. So I am going to try this screen sharing, and here we go. We're going to move it over. Nope. Try that way. How about that?
There.
How's that
Now that one I can
orientation?
see.
Okay. If you can see it on the stream, sorry if it's really tiny. I don't know where you might be watching it, wherever our audience might be watching, but here we are. So, oops, I'm locked here. So I'm going to go over to the App Store and just search for QuickBooks, right? Because this is part of the challenge. Boom. So if I search for QuickBooks, I've got QuickBooks Accounting, QuickBooks Workforce, QuickBooks Self-Employed, QuickBooks Money, and
Oh,
QuickBooks Go
man.
Payment.
That's even more than the last time I looked because I haven't seen Workforce, but I think that. Oh, I know what that is now. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, so let's talk about it with Rachel, our brand new official co-host of the Workshop Wednesday. Do you use any of these apps, mobile apps, and what for?
I do. Well, there's twofold. So there's me that I'm using them for my own firm, which is my own accounting firm. And so
Mhm.
whenever I make a purchase and I need to scan the receipt and save it and send it to the receipts module, I use it. And for that, it's QuickBooks Accounting, which is not intuitive because you'd think, it would be QuickBooks Online or something, but no, they're calling it QuickBooks Accounting. But that's the one I use, and I use it to snap and send receipts. And then I also instruct my clients that are going to be using that. I usually show them where to go, and I usually tell them it's the QuickBooks Accounting one. Um, I don't have too many clients that are using the GoPayment, just because most of them are, if they're using any kind of, taking client credit card or debit card, they're doing it within QuickBooks.
Hmm.
So I don't have too many people using those, but the other ones are new for me, the QuickBooks Workforce, and I don't ever use QuickBooks
Yeah, but
Self-Employed.
I better download it while I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
so I so I have it in ready to go. But oops, gonna stare at my phone here for a second. There we go. Hey, I recognize my face. How nice of that. But yeah, there that and funny history here is that where'd it go? Um, the in in the grand scheme of things, the advantage of QuickBooks Online is the anywhere access, right? And
Mhm.
having an app that is free to download and synchronizes your data adds another level of, okay, well, some of these things I can do on the fly, right? Like I can
Right.
snap, to your point, you can snap a receipt, while you're out to dinner or wherever you happen to be, and then it comes and shows up in your QuickBooks,
Yes.
automatically, right? And they tried to do this when I was working at Intuit. They tried to do it in with desktop, and can you guess what they called the app?
QuickBooks Desktop.
No, they called it QuickBooks Connect.
Oh boy.
Back around
That's
that day, that
confusing.
well, I mean, it's kind of funny because like during some of these seasons of at QuickBooks, they kind of like overuse some words, right? And at that point, connect was completely overused, right? So you've got
Hmm.
this app that's called QuickBooks Connect. You've got Web Connect. There was just way too many connects around that time period.
An
But the whole
event
purpose,
called QuickBooks
yeah.
Connect.
And then they ended up having a QuickBooks Connect event, which was, oh my
Mm.
goodness, is that all about the mobile app that didn't work? No, it was it was something completely different. But the QuickBooks Connect app, the original QuickBooks Connect app, was to synchronize QuickBooks sales transactions for field service guys, right? So
Yes.
you'd be, your landscaper, pest control, what have you. You can synchronize your invoice to be able to email estimates and those types of things, and that's what that app was for. So forget about that app because it doesn't exist. But I thought it was an interesting piece of history when it comes
Oh,
to
so you mean they got rid of the desktop app,
they got
the
rid
one
of
that you're
the app
referring to?
called QuickBooks Connect
Connect. Okay.
that synchronized with the app. So, or synchronized with QuickBooks. Now there is a QuickBooks desktop app, right?
Mm.
Now its purpose is, and what we're going to be, the way we're going to kind of work this here is we'll kind of talk about these apps in general, like what they're for, and then subsequent workshops will go into a little deeper dive into each of these and what you can do with them, right? So QuickBooks Desktop is an app that basically replaced that QuickBooks Connect app, but it's more on the expense side of things because you can see here I can snap and upload a bill, a receipt, or attach a document or track mileage, right? So that's really all that I can do inside of the QuickBooks Desktop app. Um, speaking of QuickBooks Desktop, this really takes the place of the Scan Manager
Mm.
inside of QuickBooks Desktop because in QuickBooks 2022 they supported 64-bit operating systems, which meant that any of the 32-bit programs that came along with QuickBooks Desktop didn't get that update. Scan Manager was one of them. Loan Manager was another one. There's a handful of other ancillary apps that came, or programs that were installed with QuickBooks Desktop that went bye-bye, right? And so this was the solution to that, which was, okay, well, if we need to scan documents, well, why don't we just do it on the phone? And that's where this came in, right? You can snap a
Yes.
picture of a receipt, take a picture of a bill or a document. It goes into your QuickBooks receipt management in desktop, and then you do some transactions with that. Now, there is a missing component to this desktop app, which is only for QuickBooks Enterprise Platinum Edition when you are using the warehouse management component, right? So
Mm.
there isn't a special warehouse management app. It's just all kind of part of this QuickBooks Desktop app. And then based off of what company it's connected to when you sign in, determines what features you're going to have available, right? So actually, I lied. Now that I think about it. All right, forget that. I'm on an iPhone. I just realized the QuickBooks Warehouse Management app is only an Android phone.
Oh, are
Right?
you serious? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Oh,
Because
no.
I was trying to think of that. Like, what is the reason why I don't see the Warehouse Management app on the App Store? Well, that's because it's only Android only.
What is that going to stay like that forever? Because I know that you
Yeah.
and I are involved in transitioning a lot of folks from desktop enterprise into more cloud-based solutions, but I would think that's a reason to do that, because if they're not planning on having that Apple phone enabled or
Well,
iOS enabled.
the it was iPhone and Android, right?
Uh-huh.
When it originally came out back in 2013-ish time frame. Um, but it's expensive to maintain an app for multiple platforms. And
Hmm.
what Intuit was finding was that most people who are doing warehouse management, larger corporations, um, Android devices are much more inexpensive, right? So
Oh, I see.
they
I
they
see.
would have rather, what they were finding is that, oh, I'll just get a cheap tablet. Oh, they give them
Got
away,
it.
when you go see a timeshare or something.
Yeah. So if they're doing
I've got
barcode
tons of
scanning, they
Android
can.
mobile devices. Then they just decided to focus, keep it only on the Android platform, just because if somebody's going to go out and buy something that's going to get a lot of abuse, let's do something cheapo than
Right.
than spend on my brand new iPhone 15 or
Yeah.
iPad Pro that is like $1,000,000, right?
Yeah. Where you can get those little Amazon tablets or something for, yeah, if they're doing barcode
Yeah,
scanning and they need to utilize that. Okay.
yeah.
Makes sense.
But that warehouse management app, which I can't show you because I'm on an iPhone here. The warehouse management app is Android only, but only for Platinum Enterprise,
Yeah.
for the sole purpose of uh, managing the warehouse. You send
Yes.
sales orders, you send purchase orders to the device. The guys at the dock receiving, which are they're going to
Receiving
be
purchase orders, probably.
they're going
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
receiving
Yeah.
merchandise or picking, packing, and shipping it, and giving that disposition to what that is in the app, which then synchronizes back to QuickBooks. Right. So those are the two desktop apps, and all right, so let's close that back here. All right, so GoPayments. So this was an application that was mobily accepting credit card payments, right? And that's its sole purpose to do. Let me see if I can sign in here. Should have signed in all the time, but guess what? It doesn't. It didn't work. All right. Oh gosh, I gotta go find it. Jeez. copy the code and go back to where it was. Oh, now thank you for showing up.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine automatically do that
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the little
it
thing.
should.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure out which app,
Oh
which
boy.
login, which
You have a
login
lot of
am I
emails, Dan.
supposed to be using? Let's see. Boom, I'll try that one. Use my face. Go ahead. All right, now GoPayment. Oh crap! I gotta use another. Oh my gosh! We'll wait again.
I think I have it on mine, but I
You
can't do
do?
the.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how to connect it. Yeah, because I still have the GoPayment app that I can use
Try
with
that one.
this reader.
Right. I'm signing in securely, as you can see.
Okay.
Drum roll. But the GoPayment app was designed solely to be able to process credit cards mobilely, right? And
Hmm.
that came out when when QuickBooks Online's app did not have the ability to charge credit cards directly within it. So there was this GoPayment app. Oh, great! You hit a glitch. Excellent. Nothing like doing this on the fly here. All right, so I'm going to try this again here. The GoPayment was designed for people who just needed to process credit cards through the mobile device, and that's its role right now, right? So if you have people that need to collect credit cards, um, then GoPayment is a great thing because even though you can process credit cards inside of QuickBooks, um, maybe you don't want to have in order for somebody to do that, they would kind of have to have almost company admin access to your QuickBooks
Right.
online, and maybe you don't want the guys that are out in the field to be able to see and do all that stuff. So now let me find out which company should I should I select here. Let's hope it's this one.
And by the way, incidentally, I have a lot of my clients sell stuff. So I have a
Hmm.
lot of clients that need that ability to take payments.
Right.
If they are either out at, selling stuff at a flea market, or they're just doing pop-up shops, or
Hmm.
they're just simply taking a payment in their showroom, or all kinds of different scenarios. It's really, really handy.
All right. So this was a bad choice, but this is a good example.
What
All
are
right.
you doing, Dan?
Yeah, look, it's the blue. It's the blue experience. So GoPayment had two iterations. One was called they just called it the blue experience, and the other one is the green experience, right? So if you have an older account, which apparently I do, you're going to see this blue experience, and this is about all you're going to be able to do is look at transactions, um, manage items, and those types of things, and create a new, take a new payment, right? These What happens to this is primarily to for GoPayment for desktop. So if you have a GoPayment account or a payment account attached to your desktop and you wanted to accept mobile payments, then you would be seeing mostly this blue experience. So now let me see if I can. I spent all this time signing in, and now I have
Now
to
we need the
sign
green
out.
experience.
I need the green experience, so I got to
It's like the
figure out which.
blue Weezer album and the green Weezer album. I don't know if you
Exactly.
got that's a very old reference. I'm old. I think we're
Exactly.
the same age.
Maybe. We'll never tell, right?
I'll never
So,
tell.
aha, right. All right. Well, let's see here. I got to look at some of these company names here and determine which one is an actual company. Well, Let's
Come
see.
on, green one.
Let's see the green one. But you can go into your merchant center and set up mobile payments. You can go inside of your QuickBooks and give people access to 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 the mobile, GoPayment mobile application. So what they'll be able to do, and here's the green one, hooray!
That's what mine looks like.
Right. So you'll be able to see a little bit more, and it looks more modern, clearly, than that blue experience. But you can do a few other things of receiving the customer payment, creating an invoice payment, creating an invoice on the fly, or just creating new sales, right? So this is really designed for the people that just are customer facing, that need to
Hmm.
see and be able to manage, transactions that are customer facing. Doesn't do invoice, or it doesn't do estimates. It doesn't do, those types of other transactions. But as the name of the app implies, you're taking payments, right?
And
you
Dana,
you
when you create
on
a
the
quick
go.
invoice, it'll send it to QuickBooks Online as an
Yes.
invoice. A new sale will
Hmm.
send a sales receipt. So you
Yes.
have your sales posting source document, and then the payment mechanism is QuickBooks Payments, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
then it'll sync to the bank feed and so on and so on.
Exactly. So this allows people to be outside of their QuickBooks, but still integrate those things directly into their QuickBooks.
Oh,
That
nice.
blue app, right? The way that those transactions come into desktop is really not as robust as what you might see here in the green application with
Hmm.
QuickBooks Online, right? So that's that as far as the kind of the overview there. We'll go back in
What I really
here.
like about that too is just it has that, sales form built right in. And it's really easy for me to explain to my clients, that needs to be created. It's not just here, I'm accepting a payment, we need to create the sales document with it. And that's a very simple way for me to explain to them how that works.
Exactly. And being able to, kind of manage these things outside of their QuickBooks, but
Yes.
still not having to
Yes.
do, not having to get into the weeds. Oh gosh, I can't do that because I got to go into,
Yes.
I
And
got to
I
go
don't
to a
have to
computer.
go in after the fact and create a bunch of invoices, to match to these payments. It's really, really nice.
Exactly. Now we had talked about, QuickBooks Self-Employed and QuickBooks Solopreneur a couple weeks ago. You'll notice that there is not a QuickBooks Solopreneur app because, as we had discussed, it is part of the QuickBooks ecosystem, so it would actually be part of QuickBooks Accounting, that the
Mm.
app. But there still is a QuickBooks Self-Employed app if you are using, or if you have clients that are using. Oh God, I got to sign in.
Which
This one I
I
actually
do
do.
not know how. Unfortunately, I wish I knew more about self-employed, but I really don't.
Well, I mean, it's really. Hey, what happened? Oh no.
Now, I do know it's not a QuickBooks Online product. It's its own branded thing.
Yeah, where'd it go? Oh my goodness. Um. All right. Well, we won't be going into that. Well, let's give it another try. See if it shows up. There it is. And this one. I got that one. I actually knew my login for because there's only one, and that was me. Oops, got to look at the phone. Um, but essentially, QuickBooks Self-Employed and QuickBooks Solopreneur are the same thing as far as what they do. Um, but QuickBooks Solopreneur is in the QuickBooks ecosystem, right? So
Mm.
it's already in there. Whereas QuickBooks Self-Employed was a completely separate SKU, so to speak, and it was on a completely different subdomain of Intuit, right? So when you went to self-employed, it was self-employed.intuit.com, whereas solopreneur, which is the newer offering, is just a rebranding of self-employed, but it's in the QuickBooks ecosystem. So you know,
So
you would download the same app.
So you mean if I'm or other pro advisors like me are using QBOA, which is QB Online Accountant, and then
Browse.
they have the app, and then they're going into the online accountant app, and then they can see all their different clients. If someone's on solopreneur, and they're associated with you, it'll bring that up in that list. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So so for that, there's only one app, to do, and you'll see and you'll see it on all of see all your clients that you have access to
QuickBooks
under the
accounting.
QuickBooks accounting, right?
Yes.
So, the nice part about um, self-employed, I almost said solopreneur, is that you have this option of uh, swipe left or right, right? So you have a transaction. This is great for when you are commingling business and personal funds. So you can find something, and then you know it's a business account or a business transaction, or it's personal, right? And
Wait,
then
but
what
that's only
that'll
if you're using solopreneur, right?
solopreneur or self-employed. I
Right,
assume
right, right. Otherwise, we're
that
not
you
commingling.
yes, we're not commingling.
We're not
Uh,
commingling.
yes, that we wouldn't be. They wouldn't be a client of yours if commingling.
No.
That'll get you kicked off the island pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I mean, self-employed and solopreneur is really designed for that gig person, right?
Yes.
The Uber driver that's not necessarily setting up their whole business practice type of thing, starting with the bank
Mhm.
account, or the hobbyist that wants to make a little money. So they'll enter these entry level applications here. All right,
Okay.
then.
So let's say they have they're in Plus or something like that, and
Mhm.
they're snapping receipts and they're adding them. Um, do you encourage your clients that are doing that to actually add the expense, or do you prefer to do that on your end?
Um, it depends, right? So in most cases, it's adult diapers, right? It all
Mhm.
depends.
Because I know what
It-
my answer is.
yeah, I mean, leave it up to customers, or leave it up to clients to put things in incorrectly, and then just make more work for
Hmm.
you coming by. Um, oh, it's a good question. Somebody asked, so which are the
Mm.
must have apps for pro advisors? I would download them all, right, and just have access to them. But for an accountant or a pro advisor, um, the main one that you want to have is the QuickBooks accounting, right? Because
Yes.
that's I got to stare at my phone there. Because that is going to have any customer that you have inside of your access to any QuickBooks Online subscription, you will be able to see there. Now,
And when you
I
first
had
log into Dan, you'll be able to see your list, like
mhm,
in your QuickBooks Online accountant, when you have your client list and you can kind of see all your
yeah,
clients. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. Then you can see again, you can see
I'm
all
blurring
your
it
list.
out so
Looks like
you
you've
can't see
got several different QBOAs in there.
a little
I
bit,
just have my one connected to my app, but so I can toggle back and forth between. At the very top, I can see my firm, and actually that's where I do my own
right?
receipts. And then I can then scroll down and I can select one of my clients' ones. And oftentimes, like, you know what I even use that for as a pro advisor? Sometimes if my client's asking me something on the fly, I'll just go in and I'll look to see. I can kind of toggle back and forth, and I can go in, and if it's something I can find very quickly going in to the app that way. Otherwise, if it's something more complex and I need to run a report or something, I'll wait until I get back to my QuickBooks. But if it's something I can look up quickly, I can look in their QuickBooks that way relatively quickly. It's a really, really handy app. I actually wish I used it more than I do. And that's why I'm glad we're going over this today. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they meant which Intuit apps are must for pro advisors or all apps. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a whole
That's
different conversation.
yes, that is a longer workshop.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just talking about the Intuit branded um, mobile applications.
Yeah.
Trying to sort through all of them. Um, so, and the last time that I was in here, I had a lot more functionality than what I'm seeing today. So I don't know if they made an update. There has been, I've seen, grumblings on all across Facebook about, you know, access to clients and those types of things. I think what's happening is that Intuit is finally doing a lot of work on the user and roles,
Mm.
especially within QuickBooks Online Accountant, which never really got any love. And I think they're showing the love, but they're showing the love during tax season, which is causing problems
Hmm.
for accountants and accessing their clients. So but there's never a good time to cause any downtime for accountants because you're in it all the time. But there's some tasks that you can do. They're sorted by shortcuts, right? So you can create expenses, invoices, snap a receipt, as you had mentioned, create sales receipts, making a bank deposit, and then you can go to all and see a little bit more, right? Like if you wanted to make an estimate, you can do that here. Sales receipts again, expenses, create vendors, track your mileage. Those types of things that you can do with the app. Now, I do want to mention something about the mileage. Um, it was actually pretty interesting when self-employed first came out. That was one of the advantages of that app is that the mileage tracker uh, would use not the GPS location services, but um, something else. I can't even remember the technical term for it, but basically you can leave it on all the time and it doesn't
Hmm.
drain your battery. Um, and so they took that technology and put it in as the mileage tracker inside of QuickBooks Accounting. Again, to do some of these things, you end up having to uh, give access to maybe areas of QuickBooks as a company admin. Like you can't snap a receipt unless you're a company admin. But unless you're on a QuickBooks Online Advanced, you could do expense claims, and I mean, there's all sorts of different other options for that. Um, but typically, the mobile app, you would just use this as the business owner, right? So you can go in and really just kind of see a higher level type of thing. So those people that are burning the midnight oil, that are needing to check their profit and loss before they wake up, they
Oh,
could do that.
mine shows bank balances and it has a customized layout. Does yours have that? I just
Where?
updated the app.
Oh, you did. Well, I thought
Yeah.
I just downloaded it right before this,
Ooh,
but
and
maybe
I
maybe I should.
have, yeah, I
Maybe I
have
should download it.
customizable thing that I can take off what's new, quick actions, to-dos,
Yeah.
activity, invoices, accounts, and track deposits.
All right. So we'll dive into that a little deeper when we get to this particular app of like what you can and can't do. Because the last time I was in here that I actually did something was I transferred money to my envelopes in QuickBooks Checking, and you could do that right
Hmm.
from the app. Now I can't do it at all, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
so something went askew. But that's really what this app is for. The last app, and I thought I downloaded it, but where'd it go? Oh, it probably went on there it is, Workforce. This is for time entry. Workforce is going to be where people enter their time, and if you have employees on payroll, they can see their pay stubs and those types of things. So that's where workforce comes into play,
You mean on
because now
QuickBooks Online payroll?
yes, when you're
Yeah.
using QuickBooks Online Payroll, or even using the desktop payroll,
But
QuickBooks
an,
works with.
an Intuit payroll, not just any old payroll.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
you won't find this with Gusto
Yeah.
or ADP. Um, but that's where it's more for employee facing, right?
Hmm.
So not necessarily the business owner, unless they're on payroll, but that's where you would download that and enter your time and see your pay stub and those types of things. That's
Yeah,
where
one thing I
that's
noticed too is that if as a firm owner, if I'm entering employees into the employee section, I can then say have employee enter their own information via the Workforce app, and I can send them a
hmm
task to do that. Then they can put in their own information, which is really nice.
hmm yeah, they can you can offload a lot of, or delegate some of those tasks that you would normally have them here fill out this form, and then
Hmm.
I'll enter it into my QuickBooks. Just delegate it to them, and they do
Hmm.
that. Put in their exemptions and or additional withholdings or whatever they want to do, manage their time off, that sort of thing, be
Yes.
available from that workforce app. So that is kind of the overarching idea of the different mobile apps that have to do with QuickBooks itself. Um, there's always other apps that integrate with QuickBooks Online, but we're not talking about that now. We're just we're just talking about what are the QuickBooks branded apps, and what do they do. And future workshops will take each one individually and comb through the functionality of those applications. So, Rachel, any thoughts about what we did besides the fact that my phone is all over the place?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you knew. I mean, like formerly working for Intuit. So because the QuickBooks accounting app is the one that, at least for me, that that I use a lot more often. What do you know how frequently they update that app?
When it needs updating.
So I mean, like once a month or once a year, or we're just curious, like to know what they're how if they're spending a lot of time on that app or if it's not.
um, I'm trying to remember the Intuit code name for, for it. It was there was a Lion King. Oh yeah, it was Nala and Simba.
Mm,
Was the Android and iPhone apps. But as far as the frequency, it was when there was a need, right?
okay.
If there was a um, burning issue, they would put things a little bit more
Okay.
on the front burner
And
as far as on the back
and
burner.
have you like in your experience, have you noticed that if clients are creating forms and things in the app, have you ever noticed a problem with those things syncing to QuickBooks, or are you seeing them sync just fine, no problems?
I haven't seen a synchronization problem. Um,
Hmm.
Typically, the problem is they're in the wrong company, right? Like
Mm,
if they as long as they're in the same company ID, which if you look inside your QuickBooks Online and see the company ID, and then look inside the app and see that the company ID matches, then it should be just fine. If there is a problem, it's typically, well, download, update the app, or download and uninstall it and reinstall it, and then
okay.
voila, you're typically back up and running like that.
Great.
All right, so it's great to see you all. Great having some questions, and we will continue on our mobile app journey over the next few weeks on the workshop. And hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time. And I got to find the video. There it is.